Hello,
Bada bing,
hello.
bada boom. Hey, hey, hey.
What's going on, man?
What is going on? June 27th. End of June. I think this is technically episode for this one. I don't think I have an episode number up there, but
Oh, yeah,
it's
you
like
don't.
because we have a special guest, which I'm sure is why all of you have tuned in today. We've had her on the show once before. I think this is like episode 22 or something. That's approaching like, well, shit, we started early January, so we're almost half a year in here, right?
That's a good point, yeah, because we started January. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, it's been a hot minute.
Yep.
Huh. Time flies. And a lot has happened since then.
A lot has happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with hacks. But yeah, we have a special guest on tonight. Going to be asking her a lot about her whereabouts recently, things that she's been up to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will have some questions for her too.
Yeah. If you've been around at all, she's been on here once before. I think it was back on May 9th, so about a month ago.
Yeah.
You might know her as Nicole. You might know her as Dr. Shrednecki. Dr. Shredder is
Dr. Shredder.
a newer name that I like a lot. So here she is. Let's bring her on.
Hi again.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm slowly learning about your community. I've met some other hexicans at an event that I was at earlier this month, and
Nice.
you guys are cool. There's
Yeah.
something about you, and I got to learn a little bit about hex. I actually officially have a little bit of hex, which is exciting.
Nice.
Hey, let's
Yeah.
go.
We'd love to hear that.
Let's
But
go.
there's still some other steps that I need to do that I still haven't understood yet. So I still need to have a meeting with Roy. But I got to watch his talk at the Limitless event, which was really cool. He's, as I'm sure you know, a very animated and dynamic speaker. So it was very fun to see him speak and get a little bit of history on crypto, because it's all very, very new to me. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, nice. So that was at the Limitless concert, which is expo that you were getting prepared for, I think, last time we talked, where there were some names like Ken McElroy, George Gammon, and of course you've already mentioned RG, but you also gave a talk there, didn't you?
I did.
Nicole.
Yes. I love, when I have the opportunity to just share health information and introduce people to the other side of medicine or what's available, because and to a group that's, it wasn't like a healthcare conference. It was for, entrepreneurs and these, real estate people, high stress jobs, or not jobs, but careers. And so many people came up to me and they were like, I didn't even know like this existed. Like there is like medicine out there for me, like, because I want to be healthy. So it was really cool. It felt like I was able to, share some good information. We actually had a booth for my practice there, which was kind of fun. I've never done anything like that before. And it was so cool to see like my girls in action, like girls that, work with me and have gone through my whole program, and to hear their testimonials. I think it was huge for people to hear that firsthand. But it was a great turnout. I had a ton of people buying detoxes. I have that 21-day detox that I spoke about last time, and a ton of new patients. And so I love that when people are like, want to transform their health, and it's so fun taking them through that process. So all around, I loved being part of that event, and just being able to share information. And I was able to learn. I didn't get to go to a ton of the other talks, but some great speakers and just meeting lots of like really cool people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. You had a booth set up. I heard you might have been set up right next door to our RG3. Is that right?
He
Or
was
pretty
like
close?
the next row over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So they all had a booth there as well. So that's, I guess, is where you met some of the hexicans that you were referring to earlier.
Yes.
Was at this nice.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good time.
And after that, a little bit running around doing more. Do you do lots of expos when you're out and on the road, or are you kind of doing some other type of work while you're out there?
So I made the last couple weeks I made a couple stops. So I travel to some other states to see patients, just depending on how many, I do a lot of televisits, which is great. Then that's like a lot more access to, people are like, how do we see you? Well, we can do televisit, or I have some patients that actually want more of the hands-on side of things, or they can't make it to Arizona. So they'll, if I have a big enough group, I'll actually go out to them. So I went to New York City, which was awesome. I actually haven't been back there since before COVID. So I was kind of like anxious to see what it would be like, but it was great, and so great to finally get back to see some of my patients there. And so that was really, really nice. And I'm trying to think, like, I should be telling you something exciting about New York, because I feel like everybody's kind of like, what's that like now? But I mean, I definitely, I'm here to talk about health, but I definitely splurged and I ate pizza, and I had a bagel.
New York pizza. Yeah.
It was so good, but you feel it. Like, for people that are used to being in tune with their health, like when you kind of fall off, you definitely like don't feel the best after. Like, your body just, I know for me, just felt like achy, or like just not peak performance. But it was good. I always say to patients, like, you need to balance, like, your spirit too, right? Like, I grew up, my parents were in the restaurant business, so we owned a pizza place. And so to be able to like eat pizza, like, fulfills my soul. And then, then jump back on the health kick to just rebalance it. You have to have that quality of life too. So that was my splurge. And then I went to Miami to go see more of my patients. So that was also great. I also saw some new patients when I was there. And I also went to a stem cell conference. So I sit on the ethics committee at the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians. And so actually, we have not had a conference since before COVID either. So it was really great to go see kind of my cohort there and learn, some of the new things with stem cells, and how powerful that side of, that I think is one of the most cutting edge sides of medicine, or we actually like to call them biologics. And how powerful they can be in helping to like rejuvenate your body, and lots of other indications, which we can talk about at some point. But really cutting edge stuff, and all the, top doctors around that are part of this group. It's really cool to be able to share case studies with them. And that was like a nice meeting as well. On a personal note, I was really hoping to have a beach day. That did not happen. I got 1 hour at the beach. And well, that was good. I was happy to have 1 hour. And for those of you, I'm gonna give a shout out to Turo here, in case you have not heard of that. I rented. So Turo is like Airbnb, but for cars.
Yeah.
So you can like rent somebody's car, know exactly
What did you rent?
Oh,
Maserati.
Nice.
I'm like a car girl, so I love to like try out different things. I've never driven a Maserati, and I was like, this one looks cool. And it was a beautiful car. It was really nice. The owner of the vehicle was like so nice. So the whole experience was great, way better than going to the rental car place at the airport. And so it's really cool. If you haven't done it yet, you should definitely try it.
Very cool.
wow. I will definitely look into that.
Yeah. So you haven't heard of Turo?
I have not.
Ah, okay.
I have. I feel like it's pretty big in the States. I don't even know if Canada has it, just because of like all the crazy insurance laws that go with like renting out cars and stuff. But because it used to be like exotic car rentals, and then Turo kind of took over. So I'm sure you saw like a lot of really cool, crazy cars on Turo when you were looking. Yeah.
Yeah. But even like with like, the rental car market has gotten so expensive. Like, even for people that are like, I just like even if you don't want to like spend that much money, like they have such an array of cars.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Now with the shortages, you could just go on there for a Honda Civic if you want, probably.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. That makes sense actually. Well, that's cool. I'm sorry about the beach. That's no bueno. You only got an hour, but shoot, I kind of want to ask her questions about the stem cell stuff, and I kind of want to get her feedback on what she thought of the hexagons at the conference. What do you think? Exercise. What do you start with?
Let's start with stem cells and circle back.
Yeah.
So okay, so you have questions, or you want me to just start talking?
Do you have something specific, Ryan?
I guess after hearing you say that, I'm curious, like, what is and I don't know if you have, like, I don't know where you guys are at with it, if you can summarize an answer on it, but what's the first, like, or the main goal at the moment, like the main end goal of this research? I guess, like, what's the problem that you guys are really looking to fix in this specific, spot with stem cell research?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's really, I think, across the board. So, we have disease states that, they're doing a lot of research in trying to slow or maybe potentially reverse, a lot of like neurodegenerative diseases, right? Like things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, it's all research stuff right now, though. I can't say that it.
Yeah.
But this is where you meet with groups and talk about case studies. So their firsthand experience, patient testimonials, is great. Anyways, but like neurodegenerative diseases, there's the joint side of things where I think that probably the most research has been done with stem cells and joints, which is pretty amazing. And that's where it is a little bit more mainstream, accepted more in traditional medicine, but to help regenerate joints, things like, I know knees are one of the best places to inject because it's so like encapsulated. So you can capture those cells right there. And then it pulls in other like healing cells in your body to start regenerating, kind of like reteaching cells how to function properly. Because you have to remember two things. Over time, your cells are exposed to a toxic environment. And so they just start becoming dysfunctional. And that's how we start developing disease. So when you give fresh stem cells, that's going to go in there, and it's kind of like the teacher. It's going to go in and teach everybody how to act again. But the other thing with the stem cells, I totally forgot what I was just going to say. I'll remember it. You might have to go back to this. Oh, dang it. I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say.
That's right. They're used, I think, for a whole bunch of like outcomes, like you're saying, like health and disease is a massive one, and then there's might be a few different tangents or a few different applications for the stem cells.
Yeah. So, I know what I was going to say. Sorry, it was about the background of stem cells. So when you're born, you have your stem cells are like one in every 1 million. What? No. Basically your stem cell replication when you're born is like huge, right? And so that's why when you're like a child, if you fall and break your leg, you're going to heal a lot faster than like I am, because each year of our life, our stem cell production starts to slow. So this is also another way of when we can use exogenous or outside stem cells, or reactivating them can help to rejuvenate our body. So going back to your original question, then we get into the more, you're having symptoms, like even like mild symptoms, or even getting into then like the anti-aging side of things where we can inject it, into your face so that, stem cells help to produce more collagen, which is what keeps our skin looking young. You know, it can get rid of like some fine lines. They use it for like hair regeneration. Symptom wise, they actually use it a lot with like sexual dysfunction, because like cells in some of our extremities like start becoming dysfunctional. So they actually use that as rejuvenation. And that's been pretty well studied as well, for both men and women. So I think that's pretty cool. And they're using it, you know, they use it for, I had a patient come into me. She's now been my patient for years, but she had Lyme disease and she had been seeking treatment for like 13 years before she met me, because she would constantly have just some kind of like buzzing in her head, and almost like this, felt like she was like on a ship, and it was just this little, you know, we worked up everything. I mean, you know, I sent her to the cardiologist. We checked her hearing. We checked her vision, you know, looking at every system in her body. And in Eastern medicine, it links with your, you know, sometimes dizziness can link with your kidneys. And so we went through everything. She had been, you know, seeking some relief for 13 years, like I said. And so finally I was like, okay, let's try some biologics. And she called me the day after and she said, I can't believe it. Like, I am experiencing relief after 13 years. So that's kind of one of those random, you know, when patients are like, they can't get answers for, you know, whatever symptom they have, chronic fatigue. You know, I've had patients come in for that. They'll come to you, and when they've exhausted everything else, you know, try something like this, knowing, you know, I don't know what will, you know, there's no expected results. But they're, you know, when we think about some of the functions behind them and them being very like anti-inflammatory. So like with that Lyme disease process, she's very inflamed, from all these toxins being shedded from the Lyme. Anyways, it was the first time she experienced relief. So, and we've been able to, you know, we've done some kind of maintenance with it, but now she's been several years without experiencing those extreme symptoms. So, we've seen some profound results, like across the board, I would say.
Wow. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, my screensaver just said a commercial. Do you think, like, what are like the biggest barriers at this point? Because obviously it seems like there's obvious application of these things. Is it price point is the barrier? Because like to your point, there's clearly a use for preventative. You know, like if someone's like 40 years old and they're like, hey, put it in my knees, put it in my face, like, you know, whatever, or kind of like the key, you know, fundamental areas that typically deteriorate maybe fastest. What do you see as like the biggest barriers to this getting anywhere remotely near, we'll say, mainstream usage?
So I think that there's there's obviously like the, you know, the like FDA right now is like, we have to make it very clear that this is experimental. We have to, you know, very careful where the stem cells are coming from. So that from like the doctor's standpoint is like, you know, we have to be so careful. And then another from doctor perspective is, you know, we need to have some kind of consistency across the board. There's so much variation in where, you know, where are these stem cells coming from? How are they handled? What's the cell count you're using? What's your procedure for injecting them? There's so much in like variation there. I feel like biologics can get a bad rap, because either the doctor doesn't know how to store them, inject them, whatever, you know, they might not even realize it. But we need consistency, you know, guidelines, just like we do in traditional medicine. There's guidelines for when you prescribe a medication. There needs to be guidelines for stem cells. And that's something that our team, the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians, we are working with the FDA to try to educate them and promote like let's share with you what we've learned so far. Let's create some consistency across the board so that you don't have these, you know, weird, like, doctors advertising, miracles on TV, because that's going to give them a bad rap, and we have no clue their quality. But then from the patient standpoint, the patient needs to be educated so that they can go in and know that they're, getting a reputable product. And then price is definitely a consideration, because the, stem cells are very expensive. The processes involved with stem cells is expensive. So it is definitely a more costly procedure, depending what you're doing and where, what state you're in, where you're going. It's, it's definitely in the thousands range to have a treatment. But for some people, depending what they're working on, may only need one treatment. So I think that's, for the patient, making sure you're getting a good product. That's like number one. And then number two, the cost is something to consider for sure.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have more follow-ups, but I want to make sure that exercise can pop in here too.
No, it does seem like an industry almost in its infancy, just like spinning up a lot of those logistics, like you're saying, like trying to figure out the right education so we can actually inject or apply or prescribe like properly and effectively. I think a lot of the stuff that like ended up gaining traction and becoming like actually effective went through a lot of these same steps. I'm not exactly sure when the stem cell research started. I'm out of my depths there, but I imagine it's got to be more recent than some of the stuff that's really, really easy to go in and get done nowadays.
It's actually been researched for more than like 20 years. It's just, I think finding, I think consistency is a little difficult when, even when you think, well, let's say the FDA decided that we can use umbilical cord stem cells. Well, eventually that's going to have to come from different donors. So then finding, consistency with that. And, but FDA does have several approvals, for things like sickle cell. And so it is recognized to a point. So hopefully there's more to come with it and we can figure out. I know that like my organization that I'm part of, like we're going to the forefront, and I know that like the head of my group went, he was down at the White House, knocking on the door, and so really trying to make an impact, which I think is so cool. And the the people involved in this organization are very, very passionate about it, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that stuff's like especially exciting because there's only like so much you can fix with nutritional, strategies and just overall health best practices, and stuff like this is really where there's a lot that could be done. And like you said, you're kind of maybe gimped right now because of you're needing to play nice with the FDA, all the bureaucracy, we'll call it, or red tape that you guys have to go through there. Because this is kind of like the next step. I mean, you could take a super healthy person, but they develop Alzheimer's. It's like, that's all she wrote, and something like that actually runs in my family. So it's important stuff. I think that's really cool that you guys are out there working with the FDA, which I'll say is a interesting organization, especially as it pertains to the nutritional side of things. For a group that wants consistency, it's wild. I feel like this is something you could probably give a lot of insight from my experience, from hearing from, at this point, thousands of people and 70 people a month of their feedback from other doctors with their their advice or guidance, especially as pertains to something we'll say like gastric bypass, right? Very expensive, can have very mixed results, especially mentally, not a whole lot of support, especially after the fact, but then they want to like go super duper crazy and give you guys a tough time when some of this other stuff is so willy-nilly, just like, yeah, you should probably just do some gastric bypass stuff. And it's just like, it's crazy to me. I just wish they were more consistent themselves, if you will, across the board. I don't know if you'd agree or disagree with that, but it is really, really cool that you guys are doing that. So I don't know where you guys are at with that process with the FDA, but hopefully you're making some good headway.
Yeah, no, that's a very good analogy that you gave, or comparison with, with like gastric bypass versus like, it's yeah, that is like, anybody that I know that, not anybody, but I have seen a lot of patients that they're so deficient in things. They get all kinds of GI issues like for the rest of their life after it. I mean, it's so sad to see, like that exactly, like, that's okay, that's approved, but things that might be potentially, could impact your life in a healthy way is like, it's tough. But I think we're in the very, very baby phases, but we're trying to.
That's good. You just need something to start, right? You need something to start. Yeah, I mean, dude, think about like all the negative externalities that can come from a gastric bypass, because they don't, yes, like you may have the health chart of the individual, but we don't know exactly how their specific body's going to react to the actual process of gastric bypass, let alone a decade's worth of having that being done to them and what happens after. It's just crazy because I am the person that they come to after the fact, obviously, right? I typically don't catch them before it. And yeah, so it's like there's so many inconsistencies to that process, but it's like as long as like one small key part is consistent, like the procedure itself, then like everything else is like whatever, free pass, not our problem anymore. So, hopefully you guys can make some good progress there, because I mean, shoot, I don't see any other solutions coming anytime soon for some of those problems. Yeah. And I think that's probably going to be a really cool way. So obviously the more flexibility you guys have, of course, with willing people, more, like you said, the use cases that you have when you get the freedom to do what you do. But the point is the more you have freedom wise from maybe an entity like the FDA, the more progress can be made in a shorter time period, obviously, maybe larger test groups and more freedom to do things. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a like an actual exciting portion of like medicine to me, like right? It's like has like a pretty exciting proposition as opposed to like pretty much what you're just saying, Ryan. You look across the room or around the room and it's like I don't see that much exciting over here or here or here, but like so yeah, I really, really hope that there's like positive outcomes, with really, really high safety, and yeah, that it can move into like actual use potentially, because if you have an option, to prolong your knees function or your joints function in general, I would take that starting today.
Dude, I was gonna say from a preventative standpoint, like once you have enough data and they give this, I guess, more freedom to do this stuff, is like, yeah, it's recommended around this age you do this and this, because we already have that with so many other areas. You know what I mean? Like we have that with BMI or anything else. You shouldn't be in this BMI or this body fat percentage by this age, or really ever. But you get the point. So it's like the one added element that can be done as a precautionary thing, preventative thing. I mean, I'd say it's like, I guess really the FDA wants to figure out how much money is this going to make the industry. I have to imagine that's part of the conversation. How do we regulate? How do we, it's no different than the finance industry, right? Regulation is typically done for a reason, but yeah, I mean, that could be the one thing where once public perception on it, and, Nicole, you could probably speak more to that, obviously, with people's perception of what they think it is when they first come to you versus what they think of it after they talk with you and get some of the more truthful, situation of what the research is actually doing and what the procedure actually does. So yeah, I mean, dude, probably like you said, the only exciting thing, because everything else is, it's not looking too hot. I think it's pretty obvious there. So cool stuff. And that was what that was the conference you went to Miami was for, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Well, you're doing the most exciting stuff in the health and wellness space there, and we'd like to think we're doing the most exciting stuff with Hacks in the financial space. I'm sure Roy talks your ear off about that.
I enjoy talking with Roy about it. He makes it kind of fun to learn.
Cool. Yeah, he does. He does. Cool. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions on that specific thing. I don't think so. I think I had more broader questions for you, but I wanted to make sure we talked about all the stuff that you were up to and doing first before I asked you more broad questions.
I think that is, the stem cells have been going to that conference was great, and now it's on the forefront of my mind. I actually did a biologics procedure today on a patient, and for her face, for like aesthetically, and you could even see just by the end of it, like a difference. Like when these, like, it's interesting how when they go to work, like her face was more smooth, a little bit more filled out, and really cool. Yeah. So yeah, and I love, you know, back to gauge what you were saying about you know, what I do, and it really, I love my job. Like I do work really hard, and so I try to find that balance of you know, personal versus like work, but I always find myself going towards the work because it's so fun, and you get to, you know, it's cutting edge stuff, and changing people's lives, and it's really exciting. I'm actually, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, I'm about to release my next product, which is to help people with energy, because every energy drink on the market pretty much is horrible for you. And so my idea behind it is focusing on adrenals, which is what gives you that fight or flight, or that adrenaline, and then that crash sometimes. And so I wanted to create something that just kind of stimulates the adrenals a little bit, but keeps it more sustained, versus like this big, like when you take a pre-workout or an energy drink and you go work out and then you crash. This just helps like sustain you through the workout. And so I've created this product that has different like botanicals and amino acids and vitamins, and I'm really excited because it doesn't have anything bad in it, which is like, it's taken a lot of work because it's so easy to throw in natural flavors and, you know, whatever else, but I'm really excited about it. And for people that, you know, they are just, you know, a lot of like entrepreneurs and stuff are like this go, 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 go. And I try to teach them, like, we need to work from the foundation and work you into kind of like resetting your body so that you have more natural energy. But I have some people, actually, Robert Kiyosaki was the motivation behind this, because he used to love to drink energy drinks. And he's like, no, I need help. Like, I need you to just make a healthy energy drink then. So that's actually what started the motivation to start developing this. So
was he one of the test subjects for it? Was he like in the trenches with you testing it out?
Oh yeah, he was so excited. He was like, yes, let me try whatever you have, and he'd ask me about it like every week. And so now here it comes, and
wow,
yeah,
very
he's
cool.
happy with it.
Well, I will say I've tried out many an energy drink, probably to no surprise. Some of the okay ones and some of the obviously not so okay ones. I think everybody has at one point or another. But do you have any like update or key details, like kind of like the ingredient list, or do you have it on your website, or do you have like any like pictures or any?
I don't think she put it up yet. It's probably in the next like
so it's coming
week
pretty
or
soon,
so.
though.
Yeah, we should have
Cool.
like pre-orders up there, and yeah, we'll have
snap.
ingredients, and yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I got to ask you though. Wait, what do you think of the Rocks energy drink?
What's the name of it?
It is. Hold on. It's got an orange label on it.
I'm gonna look it up over.
It's called
Zoa.
Zoa, yeah.
I have never heard of this before.
My girlfriend got a package of them, the orange flavor.
Huh.
Tasted okay. I'm not gonna lie. I did look at the ingredient list.
I don't know.
160 milligrams of caffeine in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's Zoa, ZOA. It came out pretty recently, I feel. Pretty recently. I was just curious if you had seen it, to see and not because like I think it's like healthy or not, just because he's obviously like a celebrity and you know, probably one of many more in the future to come out with some sort of product like this, you know.
I'm trying to pull up, so they have good marketing because
Yeah,
all the good stuff in it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pull up because we can
The
do
actual nutrition label.
Yeah, we can actually look at this. Let's see.
You know what I'm just gonna go like Amazon.com. Just see
That's
if they have
a good idea. You're right. Yeah, because I don't even think it's.
There we go. Yeah, they got it on Amazon.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna go there.
Here we go. Potassium, vitamin C, thiamine, riboflavin. I may pronounce some of these wrong. Vitamin B6, B12, magnesium, choline. God, I don't know how to.
Choline.
Choline.
Folate, niacin, and PANT period. It's abbreviation. Acid.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I found it here. Let's see.
It's got the bottom ingredients list too.
Oh yeah. So one thing that you'll see this on a lot of ingredient labels is natural flavors, which actually I had done some research on this like years ago, and technically natural flavors are actually artificial. Somehow they have been able to use that word, and now that's why you see it in everything and why so many things taste so good. Like teas that you think you're drinking something healthy, it says natural flavor in it. That's why when you drink like, you know, chocolate cake tea, it literally tastes like chocolate cake because it's artificial. I don't know how they're able to use that on the label, but it is actually some level of artificial in it. And that was one of the things that when I made this energy drink, I had to do a lot with like flavor profiles because I was like, I don't even want natural flavors in it. We accomplished it, but okay, so sucralose, which is like a fake sugar, green tea extract, that's good. Acesulfame. So that's like fake sugar, bad stuff. There are some vitamins. That's a lot of these long names. One thing with, I see B12 in there, cyanocobalamin. That's actually a very bad type of B12. It's actually very unhealthy for smokers. If you're a smoker, which I hope none of you are, it's actually toxic for your body, the way your body will metabolize that. I think overall, this is like probably one of the better ones of what's on the market, but I wouldn't consider it healthy. And the fake sugar in there is like really bad.
What do you think about Bang energy drinks?
Oh my gosh. No way. That stuff is horrible.
I had to ask. I think we should go through the Bang energy drink now and see what you think.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, whenever you see something that's like, you know, Sour Patch Kids flavored, it's probably not good.
They have a Sour Patch Kids energy drink.
I think I know that because somebody was like teasing me. You know, people know how to. Like,
oh no, it's Ghost.
Ghost.
Way,
yeah.
Or Ghost, the company has it, but they have a Sour Patch Kids flavor, and I think they partner with them because they have the same. Yeah, they have the logo and everything, so they partner with them just like they partner with like cereal brands and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that one too. That one was not good though. Did not taste good.
Well, and the thing with these is a lot of these energy drinks are Band-Aids. You're going to end up in the long run feeling worse. And that's what I try to explain to people when they're like, well, I just have like one a day or whatever. Like when you can get like natural energy from your body, when you stop putting artificial things like these energy drinks in it that cause this false high, like your body will start to have like more energy. And then you'll realize in the long run that it's like, you're going to have more mental clarity. You're going to have like less, energy issues if you can get it naturally. And so that was my thought process behind developing what I developed. So it's more adrenals focused so that your body's working to give you that natural energy.
Yeah. I'm such a bad abuser of some of these things that's why I laugh. I feel like, what do you think of, because I think that there's also a big negative in general, and then my question actually to you directly for your energy drink is, number one, what is the caffeine content of your energy drink, and what made you decide upon that amount of caffeine? And if there is caffeine in it, I assume there is, but I wanted to ask.
Yeah, so a little bit of caffeine actually does have some health benefits, including like helping to lower cholesterol levels and with coffee. And so my drink is actually coffee flavored, but it's not actually flavored. It's real coffee in it, and it's 88 milligrams, which is like 1 cup of coffee.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's kind of why I decided to even put a little bit of caffeine in it. But it's more like the healthy range.
Okay, cool. Because I see, and this is something I've seen for a while, especially as you can imagine in the bodybuilding scene, where it's just like religiously abused this caffeine intake, right? And as you know, like it's something you have to cycle if you are going to use it, because our body's ability to adapt to said intake gets better and better. And then you have people drinking 6 cups of coffee or doing like a billion energy drinks all the time. Plus, if they have to lose weight and all these other things that will contribute to energy levels. But I have shifted to energy drinks that have been a lot lower in caffeine, because people forget how easy it is to really up your tolerance of it and then have such a high level. So I was curious where yours is at, because I found like maybe like 100, 120 is really good, and yours is at 88 is kind of where I expected you'd probably put it.
Yeah.
These are just like 300 plus per. Like the Bang, I think is 340, 320 milligrams per can.
I think it's 300, the Bang.
Yeah, there it is, 300 milligrams.
I didn't know that, man. I didn't know Bangs were 300. 300
think
is
of
a
it this
lot.
way: when you have pre-workout and people are doing 1 scoop and they don't look at the nutrition label, so they don't realize 1 scoop is already maybe 200 milligrams, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling it as much," and they do a scoop and a half or 2 scoops, and people are like just used to seeing that intake. It can get wild,
and it's addicting.
Yeah. And
ingredients in some of this stuff are, it's what it's meant to be. But even, with the level of, sugar tolerance, or when you're using those fake sugars, your tolerance just keeps going up and up, and then you're craving more of that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure the upper limit for caffeine is, there's no actual upper limit for it.
And that's kind of going back to what I was talking about a couple weeks ago when I was on detoxing your body, so you can kind of reset and I can't tell you how many patients that, were addicted to caffeine, and we put them through this 21-day detox program. And then by the end, they were like, "Oh my God, I feel so much better now that I've like kicked my caffeine habit. And I didn't think I would ever be able to live without it." Yeah.
Becomes such a daily way of life for them, because plus if they go cold turkey with it, which is typically what people will try to do, it's terrible, it's a rough experience. So I typically ask people to just slowly come down on it and like slowly cycle off of it, on top of the other obvious things, more water intake, better sleep, etc. But because like if you have someone that's doing 2 bangs a day and you're just like, "Hey, stop that," that's going to be they're going to feel like garbage. And if they have work the next day, they may not appreciate feeling like garbage for 3 to 4 days for that whole week. So I did like, listen, like let's bring you down off of this for a few weeks and think the other ways we can build up your energy levels, outside of that. But yeah, that's cool to see you're bringing a product. I'm sure that there was a boatload of nonsense you had to go through to bring something to market like this. Yeah, you're smiling. So I'm sure your dealings with the FDA are everlasting.
Yes. I needed to make sure that I make I'm not making any claims, and all of that.
Right. I think last time we talked, Nicole, I think you were in the process of working on other supplements. So you said this is in addition to some supplements you had. Is it really recent that I'm looking at some on your website now? It's pretty recent that these went online?
I've been kind of developing. Well, I started the process of product development probably a couple of years ago, just as I was like learning more about, important things that I thought people should have, or there was like, lacking quality and maybe a product. When you look at some of the studies, sometimes there's really powerful studies out there, but then you're like, why am I not getting the outcomes when I'm using, they usually aren't listing brand names. And so, I realized how much lack of quality control is out there. And so that's what made me start to get into it. And so, yeah, it takes a long time to develop something. But I have been slowly. Now I'm getting a little bit like better with it, and I have like a good team that I'm working with that helps with getting it out there. But I'll probably have a few more products coming out pretty soon. I'm taking, if anyone has some recommendations, I'm always open ears for that. It's something we need to work on.
Yeah, a stem cell injection in my whatever area, which is like on the go kits. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I like that. Yeah, or pill form. Well, there's plenty of that on the market, but I would never recommend it.
Yeah, that's fair. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Are these ones on your website all your own, or do you like sometimes source a few of them? Or are these ones that you
So
created?
they are either mine or my mentors who taught me completely about botanical medicine, has been in that industry for probably 20 years. He owned a lot of medical practices, so actually conducted studies using some of these supplements. So very, very powerful supplements. He taught me everything I know about botanical medicine. So it's either his product or something I've worked on.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what the energy drink is going to be called already?
Ultra healthy energy.
Say
The
that again?
energy?
Ultra healthy energy.
Ultra healthy
I have
human.
a label. Hold on one second. Let me see.
Okay. Ultra healthy human, I believe, is her practice, right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar actually. Now that I think of it.
Yeah, ultra healthy human.
I wonder if she's taking on sponsors.
Yeah, 300 is a lot. The RDA that I was just looking up is like 400. So like you should look to limit intake to around 400, and then adverse effects around like 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams.
Wait, the recommended daily RDA you said?
Allowance. So
Allowance.
up to 400. Yeah.
Got it.
I found a very old mock-up of this is what, so I don't even know if you can see this, but that's sort of what the label was going to look like.
Oh, cool. Is it going to be like all black too, kind of like a black like coffee label?
Yeah, like that's kind of like my brand is like this, where you see it's like ultra healthy human, high performance health for high performance people. So that's part of like my detox program, and then the product name goes in the middle, and
Gotcha.
then like for like the side little things, it's like 0 sugar, natural energy boost, nothing artificial, pure coffee, vitamins and aminos and botanicals. And then I have my little, these were like some of my little samples. So they come in little packets of powder and you just add it to water.
Yep. Nice.
But it'll be like a black, and they're going to be sold as like a container of them. So Ryan and Gage, I'll have to send you guys some samples to try.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, definitely in.
Yeah.
Definitely in.
Maybe we need to have some kind of like giveaway on your podcasts here.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, and we can send them some products.
I was just joking. I was like, we need to get some Hexagon sponsors. Some Hexagon sponsors.
Some of the streamers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, like we had him on a couple or as our first special guest. He pulls around like 300 to 400 people live when he goes live, and he does drink energy drinks. Like he's usually drinking a Bang or a Red Bull or a
Wait,
something
who
like
is this?
Dollar Cost Crypto?
His name is Miguel. His channel is called Dollar Cost Crypto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
He's
a good dude.
Has RG tried the drink out yet?
I can't remember. He must. I'm actually going to be talking with him in a couple days. I don't think I got to give him a sample when I saw him, but I know one of the other Hexicans, I did give him a sample, and he likes to drink energy drinks. So he said he thinks that he could maybe try these out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, exercise. You got any questions on your end?
I don't. I will definitely have some follow-up questions. I didn't realize you had a full line of supplements up here, so that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see the energy drink. Were we about to get into? What were we going into? Were we going into something, Ryan?
No, I think we kind of did a tangent off
Okay.
of the FDA at some point into her new product. I think, I don't know. I go on tangents a lot too, so I apologize.
That's all right. I don't think so. We're approaching an hour here. Do we have anything in the chat? We had one question here. Maybe Nicole, this one's going to be for you. If you're going to introduce yourself to somebody, I guess like I'm not exactly sure what category to put you in. So when you are asked, what like how do you kind of describe your practice, or I guess your I don't know if this is a great question, what category of doctor, but
yeah, I guess under categories, like when people sometimes like Google me, I'm under like anti-aging and preventative medicine for people that people that are really looking to be healthy. That's kind of why they seek me out. What I say is I specialize in high performance health for high performance people. So people that want to be healthy and people that actually like are putting the effort in, right? Not just that just want to be given a script or to Ryan's point, just, sign you up for gastric bypass. It's like, I want to change my life. And so that's anti-aging and preventative medicine. That will answer your question.
Nice. Maybe one person might be asking how to reach out. So Ultra Healthy Human is where to go find Nicole. Let's put that link in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, Lucast. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And all of our contact info is on the website. I have like an Instagram, but I think it's more with my puppy. I think it's if you look up my name, I think you can find it, or under Ultra Healthy Human.
Yeah.
Or if you love Frenchies, then you should check it out.
Hey, puppies are good for health too, right?
Absolutely.
They gotta be.
Very preventative for mental health.
My dog comes to work with me every day. He's actually a therapy dog. He's actually
Awesome.
sitting below me right now. I can let everybody see him. If I've been boring, I know you
Sure.
won't with my puppy.
No.
He comes and visits all of my patients.
Aww.
Yeah.
Hi, bunny.
Yeah, super nice.
My little angel. He's such a good boy. But he is a good therapy dog.
Nice.
Somebody asked about 5 foods we should eat more of. I like that. So I would say, I'm going to give you a category instead of naming 5, but cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are it's a powerful food. So that can help with bringing down inflammation in your body. It's obviously a lot of nourishment, but it can also influence hormone pathways. So for people that either, men always want more testosterone, eating cruciferous vegetables can actually like influence your testosterone levels. So cruciferous vegetables are things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, super healthy for you. What else? So raspberries are, of course, have a ton of antioxidants, but they're also super high in fiber, more so than like any of the other fruits. So to help with like bowel regulation and things like that. What else? I'll tell you what you shouldn't eat. Things like tuna, swordfish, mackerel, they're super high in mercury, which is a heavy metal, and heavy metals accumulate in your body and over time can cause a lot of dysfunction and accelerated aging. One other thing you should have more of is, well, it's not eating, but water. Everybody loves to be hydrated.
He's like, I know this answer is not going to be a sexy one, but here it goes.
You can drink more water. I guess those are probably my top ones. I'm trying to think about what do I try to eat every day, but it's definitely like veggies are going to be like top of the list.
Nice.
Yes.
I just started trying to jot down a few of my own, and fiber. So one of the reasons that you listed raspberries for was one of the things I had in there.
Mhm.
Lean, if you're going to eat animal protein, lean protein sources, and those were the two I got. So yeah, I liked going in categories as opposed to like picking like actual foods. It's hard to pick the 5 best foods or 5 foods we should eat more of.
Mhm.
Cruciferous, yeah, like that a lot. Those, yeah. Ryan, any spring into your mind?
Yes, but a day in the life of me is, hey, I have 40 years of ingrained habits in family and cultural issues, and I'm a truck driver going to Wendy's 5 days out of the week. The
Yeah.
vegetable thing is probably not the highest concern, right, in terms of an order of operations thing. So I typically, what I actually end up doing a lot is kind of like typically categories for mindset development as pertains to relationships with food, right? Because if I tell someone, hey, and this is just like based on like what I do, right? Not that that's a right or wrong way to do it. But with the people that come to me, that's typically the most successful order of operations I can follow to get them to where they want to go. So we'll talk about, instead of maybe categories of food or specific types of food, it's the relationship with the process, where we're at, and how do we get them to a certain goal, regardless of food choices, and then build that in the background. Because I kind of view healthy food choices almost as like a data thing. People kind of lead with it a lot. And once again, it's not a bad thing because I agree with everything you guys just said, of course. But, when I have somebody that has, it feeds their family McDonald's 4 times a week, I can't really combat that with some of these things. It's kind of like saying, hey, you should go to 1,600 calories a day. The numbers make sense, but psychologically, are they actually going to stick to it? Are they at a 90% plus success rate there? Are they going to fall off the wagon? Are they not going to have a high success rate for a number of reasons? So I typically start with mental based and relationship based stuff first. I don't categorize it per se, but that's typically the stuff I get into. So when I was like thinking of your guys' answers, I'm like, yeah, this is all stuff I would say too. Honestly, outside of that, I would say not much more. Honestly, I'm glad you guys kept it so simple. So that way people are like, aha, see, I told you there's like something special that we had to be eating here the whole time. It's like kind of, but not really, or else people would really be dropping dead all over the place from eating things like McDonald's and stuff. I'm not advocating it by any means, but like that's kind of where my head first went actually, is like, where is their mindset at with this process? Because if it's not in the right spot, I could give them a list of the most healthy things on the planet and they could have all the money in the world to buy it. But, as I'm sure you see, Nicole, in your case, you see very wealthy people that have a tough time with consistency and sustainability on some of these things, right? And I'm sure you're on them all the time to do some of these things. But yeah, I would just agree with you what you guys said, honestly. I would say maybe other things that are just like activity level based things, honestly, simple things like going for walks and stuff for mental health. Like the quick, easy things you could pick up, like more water. That's a quick, easy thing anybody can do. A walk, that's something quick and easy that anybody can do. So yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that on that front.
Very nice.
Somebody else asked a question about the most foundational daily habits, food, supplements, daily habits. To Ryan's point, like this, our mental, I call it like your internal dialogue. So things that are going to help balance us internally. Breathing exercises or meditation, some kind of mindfulness activity. I think that is super important. Gratitude, doing things that just kind of ground you can actually influence your health big time, even your relationship with food. And then, in general, I do recommend that people do a good type of detox, like at least twice a year. I talked about the one that I've done the most, work with, my 21-day detox, where it's helping you to create new habits. So when you finish, you tend to crave different things. You're feeling better, so you want to sustain more of it. And which is, it's much different than like a juice cleanse. And then as far as like supplements, hands down, number one, adrenals, doing something that's focusing on, they're usually called them adaptogenic herbs. So These help control our stress. Even if you think you have no stress in your life, there's stressors everywhere. You know, you can even have, we all have stress. If it's great if you have it under control, but even internally, your body can be stressed, even if mentally you don't feel stressed. So adrenals are big. Omega-3s, super good for, you know, even for kids. They've studied it with brain health, with people that have had concussions, for every system in your body, like omega-3s, as long as it's a good quality. They're testing it for heavy metals to make sure they're pure. Omegas are important. Vitamin D, everyone's running around with low vitamin D levels, so that's important. Some type of like liver support or blood sugar support is important, because a lot of people's blood sugars are a little borderline high. And then probably the last one would be the methylated form of vitamins, because more than 80% of the population has a methylation defect, which means when you're taking all of these like B vitamins and folic acid, your body's not absorbing any of them. So making sure you're getting the proper form of vitamins.
Wow.
I just got the best comment of the day from William Ring. Thank you.
Yes, William Ring. Apple pectin. Have you heard of apple pectin?
Oh, yes. I believe that is actually in my my detox, my blood detox. Yes, that is a really good. There have been studies that have shown that it does help to chelate some of the heavy metals out of your body. Amongst it's good for just detoxing your liver and your tissues. So it is a good ingredient.
Nice.
Yeah.
Followed up with a really nice thank you. So Schwa, yeah, thanks for coming with some questions.
Yeah, thank you. I'm always like, if anybody has like a specific topic that you would like to speak about, you know, for like one of our future shows, I'm totally open to. And I think we are. I mean, Ryan, Gage, I think we've all kind of discussed this. Like, we're happy to put our heads together and come back with like a show that's specific to, you know, whatever you guys want. That's one of the things that I say to my patients is like, know that you have me as a resource. You know, there's a lot of conflicting information on the market. And, you know, if you don't know the answer, I will try to help you find it so that you can make an informed health decision.
Yeah, we like to, so people who are here right now, we like to source ideas from you as well. So yeah, bring them out.
Yeah.
Post on where we share the posts. And of course, yeah, if you're here, we'll come back and pull from there possibly. Maybe let's do one more.
Yeah.
7:15.
My pick is fresh fruit, definitely. Majority of dried fruit has sugar added to it, sometimes gross oils too. So I really tell everybody just stay away from like the dried fruit. Frozen is also okay. You can definitely do frozen fruit or vegetables. They actually say some of the frozen has more nutrients than fresh, because right when they get it from the farm, they put it in the freezer versus all the downtime transport.
I've heard that as well.
If it's frozen fast enough. Interesting.
Yeah, just no canned, no dried. That's usually what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, my instinct here, I think like most people's instinct is to be fresh is probably the way to go. I don't think dried's a bad thing, but just like you pointed out, Nicole, there might be multiple ingredients in addition to just the fruit. So if you are going to go dried, just be aware that there might be some sort of oil, added sugar, who knows what else in there. It'll be a little like per now and per unit weight. It'll be a little more dense in terms of calories. So something to note there. You get to eat eat some more when you eat the full fresh fruit.
Exactly.
And yeah. Maybe let's finish. Do you have are you guys ready, or how are you guys doing for time over there? 7:15 currently. We're an hour and 10 in.
Up to you guys, honestly. It's a little late here, but I'm game to go over some more questions. Up to you guys.
Let's just finish these guys out and then wrap it up then. Okay. If you are still here, we're gonna wrap up with questions, and then we'll send you off in a few minutes. A key point about the bad oils: most seed and grain oils are bad. As of late, Nicole, you might have noticed, there are a lot of people have noticed that there's like a huge seed oil movement, or like a kind of like a not a march against seed oils, but basically a narrative that's getting thrown around, like a lot of other what I would consider fads, where all of a sudden seed oils are the evil thing, or the evil villain of the day. Do you have a take on seed oils in general?
So I tend to, I try to see like where the most literature is, what's the best literature out there. And I usually recommend that, you can do avocado oil, coconut oil, that's obviously not too processed. Olive oil is fine if you're not cooking it at high heat. So high heat oils are like the coconut or avocado oil. Olive oil in the raw form, or if you're baking it, is better. Some of the seed oils aren't so good for you. Oils that are higher in like omega-6s, they're more pro-inflammatory. I think that's why, like, flaxseed oil, some of those safflower, sunflower, they say are not so good. They can become more toxic in your body. But, overall, like I try to tell people, like, it's about balance too. And that's also why I go back to always talking about detox. Is this stuff is out there, and, you're going to have it when you go to a restaurant. So putting your body back in check every so often. That's like the best advice I can give on that.
Very nice. Yeah. I don't know if there's a question here, but it might be our last comment. Bad ripple effects. So yeah, they are, I think, agreeing with your inflammatory idea. I haven't taken, I think, too hard of a look at the research, but in general, if it's like a decent fat distribution, I think is like a really clear tell. If it's really, really high in saturated or really, really high in unsaturated, in general, you want to skew towards something more unsaturated. I know less about the omega-6s that you're referencing there. Omega-3, oftentimes I think these get confused. Omega-3 is usually associated with positive outcomes, and omega-6s maybe not so much. Right? Omega-3s are the ones that are usually quote unquote good.
Yeah.
Is that right?
3 and 9. You'll see a lot of
3
6
and 9
on the market, but I'm not a big fan of it. We get, they say your body needs a certain amount of inflammation, but trust me, you're getting plenty of inflammation from other sources. You don't need to ingest it too.
Right.
Especially these days now.
Yeah.
With stress levels being at all-time highs. Like,
Yep, that's creating.
We're at unprecedented levels of everything right now, and I can tell you for sure from feedback from just like normal people in many different states, just like you work with, like the game has changed from like a base level nutritional standpoint. The game has changed. It's just the industry hasn't caught up to yet because it's still dealing with all the other problems, and no one has really yet to talk about it. I guess is probably the better way to word it, because there's other stuff going on in the world, obviously, but. Yeah.
And when we refer to, just so the audience knows, when we refer to inflammation, it's not just like I have an inflamed knee, my knee hurts. It's your tissues and your cells. And inflammation is the foundation of like every disease. And so you'll hear me talking about inflammation a lot.
What was the last thing? The last thing I was going to mention about the oils that is important to note is that they can become carcinogenic once they get to their smoke point or past that, which is what you were talking about with olive oil. If you cook it at high heats, you hit its smoke point where it actually can, start to. This is what grilling meats on like over high heat is kind of associated with. You can get to a level where it actually damages the structure of the fat and becomes carcinogenic, which is what you're referencing, right?
Yeah.
Nicole? Yeah. Yep. I worked in a kitchen growing up, so that we just knew it as the point is like where you screwed up. You went too hot on the grill or too hot on the broiler and shit a little bit too far, a little bit too much heat, but there is like actual other stuff happening there. That's the bottom of our scroll here. What's coming up? Maybe let's find out what's coming up for you, Nicole. You did Limitless, and then you have been on the road for some trips. You have more conferences coming up, any other talks, anything like that on the horizon?
God, I don't, I'm actually going to be sitting on, this is interesting, in a few weeks, sitting on a panel. There's a podcast being released, or not a podcast, a series on Netflix in regards to anxiety and, how do we deal with it and what's causing it and all of this. And so I'm going to sit on a panel to talk about this video that's coming out, just to kind of, again, share some information, because there's a lot of, stress leads to anxiety, and it's a big debilitating issue. So I'm looking forward to being able to kind of share some information about that. Once I get more information, I can try to share it with you guys, so that if you guys, if your audience wants to watch the video, I haven't even seen the video yet, but once I see it, then we'll do our critique and share some information on it. But once I get that information, I can share it with you.
Cool.
And let's see what else. I need a vacation, because I need to take care of my, I talk about mindfulness and stress, and so that's why I made a big deal earlier when I was like, I didn't get a day at the beach, because that is such an important part of wellness, just allowing yourself to like reset and clear your mind. So I think that's the next event I have coming up. And yeah,
you got to get your balance.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do exercise all the time. I think that's part of I do meditation, and I do spin class, and I have a trainer, and my favorite class is called Dance Jam, and I do ballroom dancing.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are my fun mindfulness activities.
Very cool. Someone, Shua asked if you had a YouTube channel. I think you do, correct?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Do you have a YouTube channel? I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh,
I just can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I think I do, but I'm not so active on it yet. I do want to start a podcast, but I'm just trying to, as my practice is growing, I'm really working on some staffing things right now.
Sure.
Like trying to get some more good staff. So if anybody wants to come to Arizona and work in my practice. So yeah, but I am planning to start a podcast, hopefully with my colleague who is a heart transplant cardiologist, but is very well versed in like Eastern medicine and medical acupuncture and stuff too. So I like collaborating with him, and hopefully we can get that going.
Okay, I did find the YouTube channel. There are some videos on there, but yeah, sounds like you're spinning up some stuff.
Yeah.
Netflix panel. Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing that, and then get yourself a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, you got anything for us?
Please get the stem cell stuff going.
Man, yeah, it would be so cool to have, if that became like
because there's just like there's no
thing,
hope for the
an
preventative
accessible
side
thing.
of things. There's like that's like a whole other conversation. We can do a whole other stream of, reactive versus preventative and where things are going because of said lack of care in the preventative space. And this is one area of it that gets no blow, no attention, no real care until 80% of the country has serious issues in their knees, for example, by like age 35 or 40, way earlier than they typically would for typically obesity-based reasons, but it could be otherwise. And it's tough. Like you've seen with many people, they don't really want to do things until some sort of big catalyst happens, which is typically way too late at that point, right? Typically way more stuff has to be done by then. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I know it can be not unfulfilling. It's very fulfilling, but just a thankless thing sometimes, doing the dirty work or just like doing the grind, like with the FDA. I can't even imagine. Like that just sounds taxing. It just sounds taxing, like trying to convince people of things that should be incredibly obvious with loads of data that make it so it's like 2 + 2 is 4. Well, you're going to have to really lobby for this for 5 years and really convince us, and maybe we'll believe it that 2 + 2 is 4. And hopefully the problem isn't exponentially worse by then. Once again, a whole other conversation, but yeah, keep fighting the good fight there. That's some cool stuff. People are going to thank you very much so in the future for that. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. So, Nicole, thank you so much for coming back. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on again. And we'll try to figure out a time that works well with you again, if you would come back to us.
Definitely. I think let's make some plans for July.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's do it.
Cool.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me, and hopefully, your audience is happy. I love being able to help and answer any questions. So, they can always reach out, and I'll look forward to being with you again next month.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Yeah, we'll look forward to that.
Looking forward.
All right, everybody. With that, we're going to call it. We'll see you next Monday. Same time as usual. Bye for now.
Take care.
See you guys.